Okay, off we go.
Mahag Saar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
You're mine! Swallow blade! Strike! Talon hurricane! How about this? Searing gale! Eagle fly! Talon
If they rush you, you gotta jump for cover, okay?
Do it!
Storm!
Get toasty!
Bird strike!
Right, next one!
Already on it! Rinwell! Light burst forth!
Radiant Ganabelt! Easy peasy, huh, Hootle? Go no further!
Here I come! Dragon Swarm!
Glacial Spear!
Come one, come all!
I'll smash you!
I'm on! Here I come! Thrust! Prepare to be sealed! Burn! I really owe you one. Why'd you heal me?
Do it!
This one keeps... Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Looks like it could be worth something.
What's this thing?
Maybe something's going on in the forest.
I won't forgive you!
No further!
Try
this! Infernal Torrent!
I'm all stuffed up! Leave the charges to me! Here I
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to start!
It's showtime!
My turn!
Annihilate Field!
Run!
Searing Flame!
Dazzle!
Reload!
Mirage! This one's all
Dance in the
mine!
wind!
Not today!
Field! Get on there with the others!
Looks like we won.
A fish! You saw it.
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Ren and eyes.
Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble.
I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod.
You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. Where should I cast my line? All right. She's got a good size to her, all told.
Hopefully it tastes better than it looks.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins.
Nagal told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey.
Hmm?
You Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought, after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend so much? Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, Law?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Looks perfect and tastes just as good.
You should get some shut-eye. All right, guys. Ready to go?
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Colaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Colaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman, and this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danan, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danans in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danans in Colaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place. Oh man, I hope I live long enough to regret it.
Rising Phoenix!
Take this! Everyone won't save you! They got me flanked! I'm free! They just sit still!
Shionne, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done!
Dragon Form!
Take this!
You're finished!
Here I go!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! See that?
That training's paying off! You're on! Take this! Dragon Form! Lightning Thrust! Strike! You're on!
Watch this!
Swallow Blade! You're finished!
There!
You're mine! Strike!
In here! Where are you going? Let's get you on to run
You're
next!
mine! Strike!
Quite necessary when creating weaponry. All right.
There's nowhere to run from my art. When he slows down, that's our chance.
It's like trying to keep up with a wall.
Now or never. No further.
Prepare to be sealed. Actually, that sound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing.
Throbs in pain.
Here goes. Reload. Raging cascade. Attack.
The earth throbs in pain.
I'm just getting started.
In a vine?
Swallow blade. Infernal slide. Dragon form.
Throbs in pain.
Dragon form. Explosive ring. Swallow blade. Dragon.
The earth throbs in pain.
Do it! Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course. There's history in the air here. I can smell it.
I don't smell anything.
Don't encourage him.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
Don't get careless.
Take this! Don't tell me! I'm Dazzle! Here I come!
That frickin' does it!
Eat your mind! It's over!
Now you see what I can do!
Swallow blade! Win! Got flyers!
I've got it! Let a marksman handle it!
All yours!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! I'll finish you here and now!
The enemy wields art
Do
too!
it! You'll soon see about that!
Look sharp!
Lightning tiger blade! See that?
That training's paying off!
Sleep now!
Take this!
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
Too fast! I'm on it! Stand back!
Now I'm in the
I'll trim it up!
Champion
You're mine!
Shionne! Get toasty! Bird strike!
I need to be stronger.
Hey, look at that enemy. It's shining.
Brace yourselves! This one's tough! Burn!
I never miss!
Swallow blade!
You require a hand.
I'm not so good with airport targets.
Ignite!
Do it!
Take this!
That's the airbolt.
Take!
Blow them away!
Glacial anything in armor is all
I'm not
mine!
done!
This one's mine.
Swallow
Now
blade!
you see what I can do!
Dragon swarm! Swallow blade! It's over!
Now!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
I think I'm getting stronger. It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
Oh yeah. We used to run up and down these slopes all the time for our training exercises.
Damn. You weren't messing around.
Get lost!
Take this! Swallow blade!
Hey, when did I get so popular?
This time!
Champion Squirrel!
You picked the wrong
Duel of the
fight!
Arts!
Swallow blade! You're
Let's
mine!
do it! Get toasty!
Bird strike!
Right, next one!
No
Already
escape!
on! Take this!
Be still! I'm not done!
I'm expert!
Astral art?
That's my
Be
cue.
still! Shut him down!
Do it! Flush!
Kisara, frozen.
Hammer!
Now! You're mine!
Lightning orb.
Flush! Do it!
Astral energy.
Say no more! Not a chance! I'm not done! Stardust!
I'm out!
Rising target!
Do it!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
Oh man, I hope I live long enough to regret this.
Swallow Blade! You picked the wrong fight!
Eat this! Glimmer Dragon!
Swallow Blade! Dragon Swarm!
That freaking does it!
Lightning Thrust! Stardust!
I never miss!
Swallow Blade!
No complaints here!
Dragon Swarm!
Whoa, hey! One at a time! Here! Now! I'm out of ammo!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Nice one, Alphen.
Yeah, there's more where that came from. Gotta break through! No escape! Eat this!
Can't get out of this!
Dragon Swarm!
Now!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
See that?
That training's paying off! Eat dirt!
Into the shadow!
Now you see what I can do!
Do it! Dohalim!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Citizen!
Not a chance! Strike!
Dance!
Rising Falcon! Soda! Rising Falcon! Swallow Blade!
If it's in the sky, it's mine! Radiant Cascade!
In a vine?
Sleep now!
Dragon Swarm! Wind!
Glacial Steel! Here's evil! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood. The design. Of this equipment is really interesting.
You must really like it, Alphen. More Danon ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here?
Maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands. Let's dispose of the trash.
This one's all mine!
Not on my watch!
It's over! Burn! Wind!
More with that
Take
thing!
this!
I've got it! Healing Storm!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
See that?
That training's paying off! Rising Falcon! Take this! It's over! Soda!
Ready and ready! I'm on a roll now!
Art Field! Will this lightning condemn?
Slash! You're mine! Dragon Swarm!
Dragon Shell!
Did you just hear me?
Yes, I need you, remember?
Now!
Right.
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Looks like it could be worth something.
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top. It's all downhill from here, quite literally.
So Mahag Saar's just up ahead then?
Indeed. If you look, across this mountain is the Lord's Keep.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Dragon Swarm!
Now or never!
It's over! Dragon Swarm! This one's all mine! You picked the wrong fight!
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
Slash! You're mine! Come one, come all!
This one's mine!
You're mine!
Do it! Equal Storm! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
Swallow
Do it!
Blade!
Shionne! Get toasty!
Bird Strike!
I'm even stronger than before.
There.
What's this place here? Some kind of old house?
I don't know about that. If I had to guess, it probably served as some kind of shrine.
So still a house, in a sense. Just for a god.
I won't forgive you!
Here I come! I'll smash you! You're finished!
Don't mind if I do! Freeze
What?
Blaster! Wind
Alright.
Shionne! Astral energy! Full throttle! Go!
No! You're finished!
Searing flame!
Dragon
Astral
Force!
energy!
Here I come! Lightning Flash! Done!
Astral energy! Full throttle! Go!
No escape! No escape! Start up!
One's mine!
Not today! First strike!
Here I go!
You're done!
Do it!
Overcharge!
Get toasty!
Burn strike!
I won't rest until I'm the best I can be.
Still striving to be on...
It's on! Here I come! Swallow! Take this!
One more!
I'm on it!
Don't mind if I do!
I'll end you!
Can't be thrown! A banana! Let's go!
Fly! You're finished! Hurricane!
Now!
Rinwell! Demons descend! Flashing bang! Easy!
Way to go!
Armor won't save! What's this?
Lightning condensed!
Dragon Form! Dragon Shell! Fly! Watch it!
That's
Freaking
right.
Far enough! Damn it! Here I come! Dragon Form! It's on!
I'm out of ammo! Back into the fray!
Dohalim! In an instant! Impact Claw!
There!
You're mine! Not today!
Wind astral energy!
Won't do it!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! I can feel my power growing!
Go no further!
You're mine!
Where are you going?
I'm on it! Swallow Blade! Try this!
Eagle Blade!
Immortal Turret!
Armor coming through!
No escape! No! Lunar Rongo! Start up!
Flame of fury!
Take this! Pummeling Swallow Blade!
Lightning possessed!
Try this!
Thunder Blade!
Explosive Ring! Do it! Rinwell! Demons descend! Flashing bang! Easy!
Way to go!
I'm not done! Eat this! Anything in armor is all mine! I'm just
Dynamic
Swallow Blade!
Supernova!
No escape!
What now? Frozen
Hammer!
Nice. No scratches on my shield or my armor.
No choice! Strike! Not today! Dragon Shell!
Not on my watch!
Swallow Blade! Dragon Swarm!
Balance
Storm!
Here!
Try this!
Thunder Field!
Will they come and come and face me?
Hurricane! More where that came from!
Dragon
Here,
Force!
do it!
Rinwell! Demons descend! Flashing bang! Easy!
Way to go!
Dragon Swarm! Flash! This one's all mine! Dragon Swarm!
Now!
No! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! My turn! No escape! Start up!
Primed and ready!
Mirage!
This one's mine!
Dragon Swarm! Rinwell!
Astral energy!
Say no more! My turn! You're mine! Rising!
Easy peasy, huh, Hootle?
I found some equipment.
Let me take a look at it.
Is it just me, or is anyone else peckish?
Dispose of the trash.
I'll smash you! I'm on it!
Dragon Swarm!
Try this! I'll hit you! Watch it!
Cover the blaster! Dance in the wind!
I'm on it!
Air rock! Lightning
Dragon Swarm!
I'll heal you all!
Swallow Blade! Flaming Drum!
Do it! Rinwell! Demons descend! Flashing Bang! Easy!
Way to go!
I'm not done!
Don't mind if I do!
Not today!
Dance in the wind!
Soda!
In here!
Glimmer Dragon! Do
I'll
it!
be saving this one!
More! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Guess we don't know our own strength.
You could say that again!
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being an... Forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes. I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?